I wanted to see what it was about. You got time to do that though. Go ahead, do your thing.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
Now we live, so everybody can see you pouring. You know what I mean? See what you're doing over there.
They see me pour it all over my damn carpet. That's embarrassing.
Yo, man, but listen, I want to say thank you, brother, for jumping on another week of What's in Your Glass, man. We're gonna get into you a little bit more, but for most of the fans who haven't watched any of your shows, we're gonna talk to those. We're gonna talk to those people to try to draw them in and become fans right now. But my brother Lamorne Morris, man, I just want to say congratulations and thank you, man, for blessing this platform today and What's in Your Glass.
Oh, dude, man, Melo, I've been a fan of yours since I can remember, since your high school days. I had hoop dreams. I just wasn't really good at it. And so I used to, obviously, I followed your career. I think we're on the same age. So I followed your career, high school, all the way to the pros, man. And yeah, I appreciate this. For me, this is one of those moments in my life where I'm like, damn, I feel like I made it because I'm having a conversation with Carmelo Anthony. So, man, I appreciate it.
You made it. Don't worry about it. You're making headways too, man. But
I appreciate that.
With that being said, man, congratulations on your Hulu series, Woke, which, by the way, is one of my best shows right now to watch. And I listen. I don't vouch for a lot of shows, but I'm gonna vouch for this one right now. Your show, Woke, man, is incredible. Is genius. Is thought provoking. But also it gives so much information and details on our world. But I'll let you get into that, man. But let's talk about your show. Your show, Woke, please.
Thank you, man. So Woke, man, it's based on the life of a cartoonist named Keith Knight. He was based out of San Francisco. He was kind of like me, man, where in his world, in his life, he just wanted to put his head down. He was on the brink of success, but then he sees all this injustice and stuff happening around him, and he didn't really know which way to turn. That was kind of like how I was on my ascension, I guess, in my career. I just wanted to just make some money and work and do the stuff that I love to do and take care of my family. But you're seeing all this crazy shit happen all around the world, and you have this platform, and you don't really know how to say it, what to say. You haven't educated yourself enough on different topics and matters. And so Keith, in the show, he's a cartoonist, like I said, and then he gets kind of jacked up a little bit by the police, and that forms the world around him, where he starts seeing things a little bit differently, where he starts seeing inanimate objects talking to him, cartoon characters talking to him, and they start to essentially he becomes woke, where he starts to use his platform for the betterment of his community. We talk about gentrification, we talk about sex in the workplace, we talk about sexuality, all kinds of stuff we talk about where people feel they don't have a say or they don't know how to express themselves. Right. And this show puts you in the driver's seat of, what would you do if some BS happened to you and you see some BS happening across the street to your boy or to your brother or to your comrades? What do you do when you have that platform? So like I said, the show follows his journey, but the reason why I jumped on the opportunity to be on the show is because I live that same way. Politically, I was in the middle where I didn't know what to do. I wasn't educated enough. I wasn't well versed enough. So I was just right. I guess that's messed up that, what they doing over here, but they didn't do it to me. So I'm gonna just keep walking, and then in my life, you start seeing shit like that happen to you. You start seeing shit like that happen. Even at work, you start seeing stuff and you start to speak up about it. So, if you haven't watched the show, for all the folks out there, man, please go check the show out. I think you'll definitely love it.
Yeah, because you just answered my next question. Is like why that role? Why that particular role?
Man, that was it. When I was doing a show called New Girl for 7 seasons, and I loved it. Man, I get to have fun, goof off with my friends, and it was a cool show. But it wasn't often that we tackled things that meant something. Right. You know what I'm saying? We did every once in a while. I even wrote an episode about police brutality, but it didn't happen a lot. And I know leaving that type of comedy, I said, man, I want to do something that kind of has more weight to it, more stakes to it. And I was reading a bunch of scripts once we were done with the show, and it was a lot of funny stuff, but none of it had weight to it. You know what I mean? So when I read that script, I was like, damn, this this guy reminds me of me, you know. And so I made sure I just made sure I jumped at that opportunity to be a part of the show.
But do you see a little bit of yourself in Keith?
Well, I tell you what I don't see is you right now because your screen went black. Carmelo Anthony, I'm not sure if you know how to work technology.
I got bad service. I'm back.
Where are you in the woods?
Actually, listen, I'm in Baltimore right now, ready. I'm actually missing the Ravens game for you today, so I'm just gonna let you know that.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you, man. So
you got it.
Wait, what was your question? Do I see some of that character?
Do you see yourself, a little bit of yourself, similar to Keith? Like,
man, do I? Let me tell you something. Everything down to, like, I date all kinds of women, right? Like every nationality, every ethnicity. But then you get, but then it's like the looks you get when you're dating somebody else, or So Keith was struggling with that because, again, this is based off of his real life. So there's one aspect of that I've had before happen to me in my life. Having interactions with the police where you don't know what to do. That's, to me, something that Keith has gone through, that I've gone through, and that political walk where you don't know if you should take action. You know what I'm saying? That was me for a while. That was me for a big chunk of my life where I didn't know what to do. So again, that's what glued me to this project, because Keith is even down to the music he listens to, like the real Keith Knight. He listens to, he was in a punk band, a punk hip hop band. If you look at his playlist, he listening to old school Bill Withers, but then he's listening to The Clash. Then he's listening to, stuff like that. Like if you look at my playlist, there's all kinds of this wide range of music in there. So when him and I met, we kind of vibed right away on a lot of different elements of our lives and experiences that we've had, throughout our upbringing. So
for a story like this, because it's a very timely story.
Mm-hmm.
Usually in production, it takes a while to get things off the ground from beginning to production, right? And on the screen. It seemed like this worked out at a perfect time, though, because the show comes out at a very pivotal time in what we're dealing with, and for you to bring that to the forefront, like through your lens, right, through your comedic lens, and just the way that you think, was that intentional for you to do that and educate, just people in general, whether you're black, white, regardless of what you are, you're really educating. That show was very, educational, putting people and giving people perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Did you time it up like that? That's the question I want. Did you time this up like that?
Nah, I call it an unfortunate timing. Unfortunately fortunate timing, because we obviously don't want to be in the situation that we're in our country.
Right.
But we shot the pilot for this almost 2 years ago. Obviously post Ferguson, Mike Brown and all those, and Trayvon Martin post that, but pre Breonna Taylor, pre George Floyd, pre Jacob Blake. It just happened to be something that we were already working on. And by the time we put it out, all this stuff started happening. So we were, again, it's unfortunate, but we were lucky. People were open to seeing this kind of material based off of what was happening in our country.
Right.
But no, I didn't time it up like that. Yeah, it's because it was gonna come out a lot later. I'll be honest with you, it wasn't coming out a lot later. But we were like, maybe we should put it out now.
They definitely was woke. I can tell you.
Yeah.
So, also you were able to, you put a lot of emphasis on not just the black race, right?
Yeah.
Many races, like a lot of different races on that actual show. You brought to the forefront. You brought a lot of issues within that particular race as well. Well, obviously you was very cognizant of the writing and what you was doing, but you had that in mind as well.
Yeah, man. The cool thing about the show, when they brought the show to me, they had already, this team of creators, Marshall Todd and Keith Knight, they had already had a lot of storylines that they wanted to talk about. And the real Keith Knight, he's dealt with a lot of the issues that we're talking about in the show. Again, it's based on him. So a lot of it is coming from his mind and a collaboration of what we all came up with.
Right.
Like I said, we for example, the real Keith Knight's wife is German. And so when we shot the pilot, we were dealing with a lot of like German race issues and how they view Black America being from another country. But then when we cast Rose McIver, someone from New Zealand, we then started, picking her brain of what New Zealanders thought about what was happening in America with Black Americans and her point of view and where she's coming from. You know what I mean? So we definitely added a lot of those layers in there too. We have an episode called Black People for Rent, where Keith puts up these signs where he's like, I want to provoke people. He went to this party where white people were just touching his hair and following him around like he was a piece of art. So he was like, damn, what are we for sale? What are we, a commodity or something? So he put these signs up, and then he starts seeing the reaction of how white people felt and how Black people felt.
Right.
And in the show, certain white people were like, yo, this is messed up. But then certain white people were like, I wonder if we get a discount. Like, I wonder how much they cost. And then Black people were, filling out applications like, yo, how do I get a job? So that's in our country, in our society, that's something we also need to think about, is how we view each other, how we view what Blackness is, and how do other people view us. A lot of times we get this, the news portrays us a certain way. You know what I'm saying? People think because of what they see on TV, that's just really who we are. And a lot of times people try to put a price tag on that and snatch up the energy that we provide. But I just think that as long as the conversation's going, as long as we can keep that conversation moving in the right direction, as long as we don't dull it down, as long as it doesn't take another shooting or another murder to happen for us to keep having these types of conversations, I think we'll end up in a good place, man. And in a show like this, for me, one thing I hope people take away from it is just to keep the conversation active.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And question it and challenge the show. Like if you watch the show and there's something you don't agree with, that's why we made the show.
Right.
About it. You know what I'm saying? Bring those points up in conversations with your friends or on social media, whatever it may be.
Yeah, because you answered another question I had, because I wanted to know, what do you want the audience to take from the show, right? Like what do you? Aside from conversation, because obviously that needs to continue to happen and always happen. Regardless if it's uncomfortable or not, those conversations have to continue to be had. And aside from the conversation, what do you want the audience to take away from the actual show?
So in the show, we represent a lot of different aspects of the conversation. But one aspect that we don't talk about a lot is for Black folks who don't feel like, for me, I was always the nerdy Black kid. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times I was made to believe like I didn't have a seat at the table. Like I wasn't like, I would have, this is a real story. I had white people tell me sometimes like, man, I'm Blacker than you. And I'd just be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like I would hear that type of shit. So I want people, when they watch the show, to like, for those kids who are like me, for those kids who are theater nerds or, comic book nerds and stuff like that, to feel like, yo, don't let that outside influence pressure you into shutting up. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a voice. We Black people, we come in all shapes, colors, sizes, no matter what the news may tell you we are. For those kids out there who don't feel like they have the ability to get activated to then go educate yourself, it's never too late. Like my character is in his 30s. I'm in my 30s. And I'm just now, for the past couple of years, figuring out my voice. It's never too late, no matter how old you are, to ask questions, to try to get involved in the movement. You know what I'm saying? Because this is an all hands on deck situation. So for me, I hope people look at Keith Knight and go, man, this guy was on the brink of success, but he still saw things that needed to be addressed. And, maybe not so eloquently, he put his best foot forward and he tried something and he tried to figure it out. He had a lot of ups and downs, but that's all a part of everybody's journey. No one's perfect. You just have to get it. You just have to. Just like my
service, just like my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, your service is terrible. We got to call Baltimore and have them get Wi-Fi.
Oh my gosh.
How was you gonna watch the game? Like if you don't have service, damn.
Yo, man. and it's raining heavy up. It's raining heavy up here, but we back now. We back now. Nah, but that that's that's a great segment into what else I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Woke will continue to be made. I think should deserve second season, and many more seasons after that. I think
please go talk to Hulu. You got influence. Go talk to them. Come on the show. If you say, "Hey, I want to be in an episode," they will let you. Yes.
It's a new way to educate yourself at the end of the day, and educate everybody, not just black people. What else you have work? What else you have going on? What's next?
Man, what's next? I just partnered with John Legend's company, Get Lifted. We're working on an animated project right now. Let's see. I'm running all over the place, man. I whatever y'all do, don't. Oh, cheers.
Cheers. Once you say Get Lifted, we gotta
get lifted. We gotta lift that. Don't go and listen to my comedy album that just came out a little bit ago called The Lamorne After Pill. Don't listen to it. Melo, I'm gonna tell you, it's horrible, man. I mean, we breaking records. It's that great and it's that amazing, but don't listen to it. Don't tell your fans to listen to this album, Melo. It's really bad. It's a really trash. Comments on the album, by the way, but don't listen to it. You know what I'm saying? It's called The Lamorne After Pill, but do not go listen to it.
Well, why is it called The Lamorne After Pill?
This is the play on my name, and it happened to sound weird. People may think they're getting something on the album, but I don't know. It's dirty. Carmelo, I'm ashamed of myself for this album. I will say that. I put it out there, and I wasn't going to put it out, to be honest with you. But during the quarantine, I was like, man, I ain't got nothing going on right now. Let me go ahead and put this album out real quick.
You got features? Yeah. You got features?
Man, I got Common. I got Andy Samberg. I got my boy Cal Scrubby on there, man. I got some pretty cool, dope artists, man. My girl Sexton's on the album. It's a pretty dope album. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think people will love it, but don't listen to
it. Speaking of Common, big shouts out to Common for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that that the Chicago famed Second City Improv Club is a place that had a major impact on your professional development. What impact did that have on you? Because we all have things that impact us, but specifically for you, what was that impact like?
Man, it's probably similar to even where you trained at coming up playing ball. Like you always just knew how to play.
Right.
But you start developing friendships and bonds with people throughout that journey. And that's kind of what you take with you the most. Yeah, you learn some skills and you learn how to do, the things on a more professional level. But for me, Second City was more so of a place where I just met my group of people and it made me feel comfortable performing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you get nervous. You don't really know how to perform on stage. You choke, you freeze, all these types of things. But when you with a collective group of people that's kind of got your back, Second City was that place. Everybody's crushing it now. Everybody's got TV shows. They're directing movies. They're directing plays. Everyone's still performing, and they definitely helped me have that confidence that I was doing the right thing. Like I said, when I was in high school, I genuinely thought I was playing basketball. I just wasn't that good. Like I didn't have any other plans. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna go pro. But you kind of have to make the team to go pro first. You got to start there, and I couldn't even do that. So I was like, what else am I going to do with all my time? So I started doing theater, but I didn't know if that was the right direction. And when I got to Second City, it was like, oh, no, you're in the right place. This is what you should be doing. So that's what Second City.
Did they tell you, did somebody tell you that, or you told yourself that?
It was both. It was a combination of both. I learned that after. I would hear people tell me that, but I kind of had this imposter syndrome where I didn't know. Like I was like, man, this is weird. People are telling me I'm really good at this thing, but it's new to me. So I'm not really believing the hype until I start believing it. Until I started going like, I think I'm pretty good.
So when was that moment? Because we all have a moment of like, all right, like this is it. Like I got it. I'm ready. When was that moment?
It was a couple moments. I'll tell you a story though of when I first moved to LA. When I first moved to LA, I was broke. I was, and I had just got through hosting for BET. I was on the network for a couple years, and I moved to LA and I lost everything. Like I was in and out of my car, couch surfing. Like I used to walk down the street, like you would think that I was just trying to enjoy the atmosphere, but I was really like looking on the ground for change. Like that's kind of how I was living when I first moved to LA. But then one day I was late for an audition, and the moment I realized I think I'm pretty good at this was when I stopped trying to be what I thought people wanted me to be, and I just started doing what I knew how to do. And I took those skills up from Second City and started improvising. I was late to the audition. They were like, "Hey, did you read the lines?" And I was like, "Yeah, I read them," but I lied. I didn't read them. So when they were like, "Action," I kind of froze for a second, and then I just started making shit up. I just was like, "I'm just gonna make stuff up." I mean, I ain't gonna book this job no way. So I started making stuff up, and it was a Miller Lite commercial where I'm in the park talking to my girlfriend about the beer I love, and I'm drinking, and I can't give her a reason why I love her, but I can give her a million reasons why I love this beer. And so that was literally me making a bunch of stuff up. And I was like, man, it worked. I have this skill, so I'm going to start using that skill to the best of my ability. That was probably the time that made me realize, like, man, I feel like this is it for me. Like this is the lane I'm going into. Obviously later on in your career, you want to do other stuff. So I direct a little bit, produce, write more. But acting is still my passion. So
obviously you're a basketball fan. I'm hearing you're a basketball fan. I think I've seen you at a couple games before, but
yeah.
Hopefully when we get some fans back in the building, you'll be.
I screamed at you before, and you act like you didn't see me, but that's perfectly fine.
It was a lot of people, but I knew you was there. So I made sure I knew you was in the building.
No, it was a game against Washington. Wasn't no fan in the audience. It was just me.
We was in a bubble.
Yeah, we was in a bubble.
being that you did hoop and play ball, mm-hmm. Is it like that competitive fire that you had from playing basketball, and you telling yourself like, damn, I'm a basketball player. I want to hoop. I want to play ball. Then you mm-hmm. realize, damn, this may not be my actual calling. I had to find something else. Did those disciplines that you had from being a basketball player have anything to do with your success on the theater side of things?
Absolutely. When I was, man, my cousin Ian, God rest his soul, he was murdered years ago in Chicago, man. He taught me how to play basketball. But we used to play on a crate,
of course,
on the tree. Yeah. So that's how I grew up playing. At my grandma's house in the alley or on the tree, but it was always a crate. And I remember he was nice, he was nice, and he wouldn't let me win, like ever. Like I'm talking for nothing. Like he wouldn't let me, and I would beat the kids in my grade. I was always the best kid on the block, but my cousin would come over and I wouldn't score a bucket. And I just remember like being pissed all the time. Like, okay, there's no way I'm not gonna beat him. Like right. I never did beat him. I did score over him one time, and for me that was like a big victory. So when it comes to acting, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You have to find that competitive nature inside of you, regardless of the outcome. Right. You just can't lazily go about your craft. Right. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people who have ability sometimes just phone it in and just I'm just gonna show up and do what I got to do and then go home. But there are people who like practice. And for me, especially when I was broke, I had nothing else to do. So I would sit at home on the computer when I had access to the internet. Like I would read scripts. I would practice scenes from like movies, Training Day. I would practice all this stuff over and over and over again. And I would watch movies and I would study each actor and what made them special and what made them unique. Their whole careers. That's the work that you have to put in. But that's also the work that when I watch somebody like yourself, I go, I don't know how tall you were, 6'8", 6'9", something like that. Like you automatically think you would be good at basketball, but people don't realize, like, I'm sure you had to practice. Every single day. That's why I wore the hoodie. Because you used to, you go around with the hoodie all the damn time. Nobody know who you are at the gym, and you just be putting up buckets. And it was like, who's this nigga in the hoodie?
That's the mindset. That's you have to lock in when it comes down to it.
Exactly, man. So I definitely think, early days in sports. I mean, I ran track as well. Those days definitely kept me competitive for theater, and just with your friends. Like I have friends who are actors. Like it's bragging rights. We do it all the time. Like when my friends book a job, they let me know about it, and vice versa. So we go, damn, I auditioned for that. Like, and we go at each other. I have friends who I beat out for jobs. They beat me out for movies, and we're like the best of friends. And we just talk about it and help each other out, whatever projects we're working on. So, it's it definitely keeps you competitive for sure.
But I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, you're supposed to have that friendly competition, right? We want everybody to eat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
exactly.
If I don't get it, I hope you get it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's the way.
Exactly.
That's the way that it actually should be, man. Let me ask you some wine questions now.
Mm-hmm.
What's in your glass right now? What you drinking?
So right now I am drinking. This is my favorite wine. It's Cooper and Thief. I mean, this stuff here. It's a blend, and I'm new to the wine world, and I got on this because of quarantine. So every week or so we would go grocery shopping, and we'd always just go stop at the store and pick up wine, and I would taste a bunch of different ones, and I was always trying to figure out what do I like, what don't I like. I would taste some that were a little too sour, some a little too light, didn't feel like wasn't worth drinking. My brother randomly brought this home. And I was like, man, this is unique. It's aged in whiskey barrels. So it has a different, more full taste to it. It says dark and jammy with toasty vanilla notes.
Oh, you know that.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
Long night.
What'd you say?
Long night. That's what that means.
Long night. That's what that means? Okay, long night. But it's delicious. And I swear by this. I literally haven't had another glass of wine since I started tasting this one. I traveled a little bit recently. I had some shipped to the place that I was going. Like, this is like, I just love it. Like, it's absolutely my favorite. Until somebody proves me otherwise, this is my stuff right here.
I have to try that out. I never tried that one. I have to try.
Yeah, and no, they are not paying me. By the way, this is
no. Listen, they're not. I just wanted to know what was in your glass today.
Yeah, what's in your glass?
I went to a little Burgundy. I went to Burgundy today.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted people to just be woke because I had the star woke on the show. So
hey.
I gotta celebrate. I gotta celebrate big for you, man. Absolutely.
How long have you been a wine connoisseur?
I would say probably 10 plus, 15, almost 15 years.
15 years.
Not a connoisseur for 15 years.
Okay. Okay.
into wine for 15 years.
So are you the type of person that when you go out, like if I was to see you out at a club somewhere, would you be the nigga at the at his table with a bottle of Burgundy?
Depends where I'm at.
It makes sense.
It depends where I'm at. If I'm, the club, probably not.
Okay.
Lounge, yeah, I'll have the Burgundy there. I'll have some bottles there.
Okay. I don't want to get you. What'd you say?
I like to share. I like to share my wine.
I appreciate that. Text me your address. I'll stop by. I'll wear a mask and I'll just pick up half of what you have.
I'll send you a couple though. I don't know about half, but I'll send.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. I appreciate you, bro. That's fair.
What's next for you, man? Like, because we all have moments where the energy is going, right? You feel the moment, and we have to embrace the moment and take advantage of those moments.
Yeah.
This is your moment that you're in right now, and it's just getting started. So what's next for you?
Dude, man, the sky's the limit. When I tell you, this is a conversation that I have with my reps all the time, my team, we always go, what do you want to do? And this momentum of woke has been beautiful. It's been opening up a lot of doors, and more so on the creative side. A lot of places want to know what I'm working on, what I'm developing, and me and my writing partners are always creating. So for me, look for me to be more behind the scenes. Obviously, I'm an actor.
Right.
So, I got a few movies coming out. I got a couple projects that I'm working on. So I'm just, for me, it's more so trying to keep that momentum going of heightened material that means something, that has a lot of weight to it. So you can look forward to a lot more of that. Prior to woke, a lot of times you just, you take a job just because it comes. Sometimes that happens. You go, I'll do it. But when you have the ability to be more selective, to kind of put some pieces together to to fit your trajectory and fit your journey. You want to take your time. So reading a lot of scripts right now. We'll see, man. We'll see. Obviously, pandemic has been a bit hindering to working, but now stuff is starting to open up again. So I have a project that I'm going to start shooting soon. You'll hear about it unless it's not good. If it's really bad, I look like promoting it. I'll just be like, so we'll see. We will see, man.
Did the quarantine, do you feel like that helped you from a creative standpoint, or was that challenging from a creative standpoint?
It was both. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was one of those people in the beginning where I lost my mind. I thought I was cool, because we had just wrapped Woke, just finished it. I had a movie that came out, Bloodshot, with Vin Diesel. That just came out, and we only did like 2 days in the theater. So that's when it started to mess with me a little bit. Where I was like, damn, this is a real thing. They shutting down movie theaters. Like I'll go walking down the street, and you start seeing everybody with masks on, and the grocery stores are closed, and there's boards up everywhere. And you're like, that's when I started to psych myself out a little bit. And I started diving into this place of fear more, where I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen with my family, my career, everything.
Right.
But then with that downtime came a lot of self-reflection and starting to figure out what it is that I like to do and what makes me comfortable, what makes me uncomfortable. Start tackling some of those things, and you really start paying more attention to your mental health, to be quite honest with you, man. And I hear a lot of cats in the bubble talk about it, how you're going crazy in this place. That's what it felt like being in this house. But then you start writing more, you start realizing like, oh, I got downtime. So all the things that I wanted to get done, all the things that I wanted to accomplish, all the people that I didn't really feel like hanging out with, I now had an excuse. I was like, no, I cannot come hang out tonight. People are dying. That's it. This is my excuse. My neighbors are old. I don't want to get nobody sick. So it definitely put me in a place of creativity for sure, because I got to just write. My writing partner, we live in the same house together. So me, my brother, my writing partner, every day we tackle something. Every day we make videos. We just try to stay engaged and active. If the pandemic wasn't happening, I probably would have took this time to just go enjoy the show and be out and about, and you know what I'm saying, and not really creating. And so that's the one cool thing that came out of it for me.
We always talk on this show. We always talk about, and you mentioned it, the mental health, right, and how important that is, and especially today, whether you're young, old, it affects everybody at the end of the day.
Right.
What is one message that you would give to people out there who are looking for some type of advice or some type of encouragement because they're actually dealing with just everything that comes with mental health? What would that message be?
I tell you, I can only speak from experience, and that thing is to talk to somebody. It don't necessarily have to be a therapist or a professional. Right. You just gotta express yourself. A lot of times what we do is especially amongst our community, mental health is something we don't talk about. We always just say, we're good. Like, I'm fine. Like, no, right. It's not cool to talk about that. I think when you start sharing your experiences with people, you'll find that y'all got a lot more in common than you think.
Absolutely.
And, I just remember going through something recently, and I thought I was losing my mind, to be quite honest with you, and then you talk to a homie and he's like, oh, bro, I was 5 years ago. He's like, let me tell you how to do it. Let me tell you.
The same shit myself.
Yeah, and they're just like, and they kind of coach you through a journey a little bit without having to go see a therapist. I'm not saying don't go do that, but I am saying just tell your boy, tell your friend, tell a sibling, talk to somebody, talk to your parents. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I never spoke to my mom ever about some of the mental issues I thought I may be going through, or the highs and lows of this business and personal life. I never had those conversations with her until recently. And Then I was shocked to find that my mom had answers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they always do.
They always do. And I was like, damn, my mama, okay, all right, well, You know, it's not all just Jesus gonna work it out. You know, which that's a go-to. You know, and she's right, but
mine's too. Mine's too. Don't worry about that.
Exactly. So I think when you feel dark, you feel like you're in a dark place, man. Just as long as you don't hold it in, as long as you say something about it, that's the first step. Because a lot of times people don't want to even express themselves, and that's the hard part. Because people are going through some dark stuff, man. Not just with the pandemic, not just with race relations in this country, man. People have their own private battles that they're dealing with stuff with, and when you keep it in, that's where the stress comes in. And if the depression don't kill you, the stress will. Absolutely. So you gotta get it out, man.
Hey, look, brother. I just want to say thank you again, man. It's always love. You know, as you know, I'm following you. I'm watching you, man. Continue doing what you're doing. Continue putting on for our community, telling those stories that really need to be told, man, and making, you know, people uncomfortable. Like you said, we have to keep the conversation going, whether it's uncomfortable or not. So I want to cheers to you, man.
Cheers.
Cheers. Season 2 of Woke.
Hey.
Let's stop playing.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I appreciate you, bro.
Peace.
Yes, sir.